What is going on, my peoples?
What's up with it, my bows? People.
Peoples. All right. Millennial men, welcome to another episode of the Millennial Man Podcast. Your host, Derek Chard, here and always joined by my co host, Bryson Womack. Uh, Bryson, what's going on? What's going on? You okay?
Uh, yeah, I'm still laughing at well, you and I are both victims of weak injuries this year, right? You know, you were just kind of jogging and hurt your calf, and I just tried to catch a ball and hurt my shoulder. And I'm just thinking about the fact that I tried to dodge under your garage door there here at the old Shard cabin, and my back didn't get as low, and I appreciate you kind of raising the garage door a little higher so that I could get under it. Granted, it was already at 3 feet. You had to raise it to 4 feet.
Well, first I want to set the record straight. I was taken off like Usain Bolt, and that's how I got hurt. But no, yeah.
But appreciate you raising the door for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of doors,
Doors.
yeah, this was on my mind. So, out and about the other day and going into the coffee shop. And you're aware of your surroundings, right? As you're walking in, and notice there was a person, might have been from the female gender behind me, walking in, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna open the door and say after you, and let her in and hold the door for her. And I swear to God, she looked at me and said, I don't need you to do that for me. And I was just like, okay, sorry, and just went about my day.
Well,
Yeah, I was like, I thought I was doing a good thing.
that's taking the old hashtag me too, or I mean, we used to call it a pound sign. So pound me too and sticking it right to your face, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Um, Apparently, I guess it made her feel like she needed my help, and that's not,
Or didn't
or
need your
didn't,
help.
right, or like she felt that I felt that, oh, you need my help, so let me help you. She was like, I don't need that. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, well, I know you didn't need it, and I know I didn't need to do it, but I just did it to be kind. I would have done it for you, Bryson. I would have opened the door for
You
you as
just
well. I
did.
did, yeah.
You know, that's
But
interesting.
it threw me for a loop.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, gosh, we could go all day about this one, but that is the whole, I think, change that as a millennial man that we've kind of gone through, right? I mean, obviously, we were raised with certain, I guess, gestures and things that we were just taught to treat people,
Yeah.
people, but also how to treat women. And sometimes that expectation doesn't land.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to say it because gender dynamics have changed. And, part of why we started this podcast and is because as millennial men, we're caught in the middle, right? We grew up one way, watching the silent generation and the boomers go about their business. And then, you know, in the middle of our life, it all changed and we had to now shift and also change with the times. But it's hard to do when you were brought up one way. And for better or for worse, it was take care of women,
Boy,
right? Protect, provide. That was kind of the mentality. And back then it was okay. It was encouraged. And then I think now it's can be, but then there's also times where it's like, I don't need a man to do that for me. And it's like, oh, okay, shit, sorry. I'm not trying to enforce my manliness on you. I'm just trying to be,
not trying to be toxic.
yeah, yeah, that changed. Masculinity went to toxic masculinity real quick. And I don't even know where that line is, right? Like what's masculinity and what's toxic like where's that line now?
Yep.
And so I'm just trying to be a man in today's world. You know what I'm saying?
Be a man.
Be a man.
No, it's funny you say that. I mean, that was like, I felt, when you're in college, or not, it doesn't be college. It's just as you're kind of starting to work your way through your last years of school, or you're becoming 19,
You're becoming a man.
there was always that question like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what are you going to do? And I think a lot of us are like, I don't know. I'm just going to try to figure it out, and I don't know how. I'm broke. I'm hurt. I don't have any direction. There's no one I can lean on. I'm just going to figure it out. But in the back of my mind, I always, knew that whatever I do, I've got to figure out who I'm going to be as a man, because that'll be what I attract.
Well, yeah, and you got to provide, right? Like you talking, what am I going to do? Didn't matter because again, how I grew up, and maybe you too, you had to provide, right? So
Oh yeah.
as you're a young man and you're graduating college or didn't go to college, maybe you went into the trades or something, but you're like, okay, well, from what I've seen in generations before me, the guy goes out, he works, he brings home money, he puts a roof over the head, he's the protector, he's the provider. So I have to figure out how I'm going to be a protector and a provider. And that is kind of number one on your brain at its core. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at its core, you don't forget about the job you have to do eventually, right? It might not be the first year out of college, but it's like, all right, at some point, I gotta buckle down. I gotta go get a good job. I gotta make some good money. I gotta be an attractive candidate for a female companion. But that's like what we saw. And it got blurred a little bit,
Yeah,
maybe. I
I
don't know.
mean,
Or did it not? I don't know.
when we were 18, 19, 20, it was, what pickup line am I going to use tonight to smooth over a girl, or whatever it was. And then it quickly hit that, all right, now I've got to establish a basis, a foundation that I can provide a life.
Right.
Like, I've got to put in work for some years forward here before I can actually even think about being able to provide for family.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the point is for us millennial men that was still our mindset. And then the world changed a bit and probably for the better in
Oh
ways, and we'll
yeah.
go into it. But then that singular mindset was no longer sufficient, right? You couldn't have that singular mindset. And what changed in the world actually had really nothing to do with us. And like I said, a lot of it was positive. A lot of it was women in empowerment, right? Well, women are going to go to college and get the jobs, and women are going to work and they can climb the corporate ladder, and you can do it too. You don't need to just be a baby maker for the man. You can go out and aspire and do and speak up. And the Me Too movement happened, which was great. I think we're all supportive of that, but I think in the midst of that, our singular mindset that we thought would be easy to carry on from our forefathers, as you would say, wasn't good enough anymore. Like like you had to adapt and be like, oh, okay, I got to be a little bit more multifaceted or think of things differently now, and I'm not equipped to do that because now I'm on my own.
Granted, there are pieces of shit out there, but for the good guys,
Yeah. Well, we're talking about the good guys.
we're done with the good guys.
Yeah.
We were not emotionally in tune.
No.
And what I mean by that is, I look, most men I think could agree with we're the handyman, the maintenance guy, the Uber driver, the menu for food, the decision maker, the directions, but then all of a sudden it was like as we are thinking about, all right, if I'm sitting on the east side of the football field, which is on north side, I want to park in the parking garage that's closer to that. I've got to remember that I'm on floor 3 so that I can find my car when I leave. But then I want to make sure I've got the tickets. So I find the quickest route in. Got to get them food, hot dogs. Okay, got my money, got that. All right. Make sure no one's gonna, bump into the people I'm with. Make sure I'm being the security guard, and then sometimes we forgot to be like, just, hey, your outfit looks amazing. Your hair looks great. Like, because we're not thinking about that. We just go in and pick out the first shirt in our closet and just throw a hat on our head, and we're thinking logistics, and we're never even thinking about the emotion. And then that becomes we don't care.
But I agree. But that was, again, I don't want to speak for you, but getting brought up, that wasn't important. Like remembering some of the little things, like being emotionally open, like things that were good changed the bad, right? Being stoic and unemotional used to be good back in the day. Oh yeah, strong man. Like he doesn't cry. He's strong. He doesn't let anything affect him. He's just, now it's, no, you gotta do that. And then the other part of that is I feel like, again, watching generations before us, those things were overlooked because, like, I brought this up in our kind of pre-chat a little bit. Love my dad to death, but he didn't go to any of my sports games sometimes. But my mom would always be like, I'd be like, oh, where's dad? Well, he's working. He's putting a house, he's putting a roof over our head. He's providing, she kind of backed him up.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if that would be the same case where it's like, well, yeah, he's working, but he works too much. You're right. He should be. Like you got to add that different dynamic in there, and that we're like, all right, well, I thought I just needed to be a provider, and not that I'm saying I don't want to do the other things. They weren't in the front of my brain. Now they also have to be in the front of my brain. Like you said, like mentioning the outfit or the hair, and you just got to be a little bit more emotionally in tune, or else you might.
What do you think about, like, you've always heard that, like, treat others how you want to be treated.
Right.
Like, same thing goes for ask the questions you want to be asked.
True.
I mean, all I ever got was like, did you brush your teeth? You're wearing that freaking hat. oh my God, you're wearing that same shirt. Like you couldn't like those shoes. Ugh. But yet I've got to counteract with, well, all I'm getting is what I'm doing wrong with what I'm wearing and how I look and how I smell. And oh, but you smell amazing. You
Yeah.
look beautiful. Love those earrings that I've never even shopped for earrings. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, there's
yeah.
a comedian that said that he was like, "Oh yeah, like women, they're the finished product. Men are like, you see those scaffolding in New York City that's just there for like a year, and you're like, are they even working on this building? Or is there just scaffolding on it? And they're like, that's men. We're always work in progress. Like, there's always something new to be done. But
Well, women too.
yeah,
You
but I
got
think it's
blonde hair, you want it brunette.
yeah. Well, I
You
think that's
got
more
small
internal.
tits, you want them bigger. You got big
Well, that's
tits, you
more
want them
internal.
small. Okay.
That's right. Like they want that for themselves. Men, we're we're good the way we are. So it's like I don't know. I mean, we're working on ourselves, but it's not like, oh man, I could be so much better at this. Now we get a cue to be better at that, and then we have to go after that. But yeah, it's changed. It's
Changed a lot.
changed. And what I don't know is, has this change been all for the better? I think most, but has it been all for the better? Because whether or not it was simple and archaic and traditional gender dynamics, it was simple and it was easy. Like, I remember my grandmother being like, yeah, he goes out and makes the money. I take care of the house. I cook, I clean, do the laundry, iron his clothes. I make sure that the household is taken care of. He makes sure that the household exists. And if there's an intruder, or there's a bear outside, or someone hits us in traffic, or there's an issue with the car, or if there's anything, he takes care of it. And it's divide and conquer. And then I feel over time, with some things that were good, those lines blurred so much that even both sides, whether it's us as millennial men or even women, are like, all right, well, should I now be doing this? Should I now be doing this? And where do I fit in? And what's more valuable?
What do I do? How do I
What
act?
do I? Yeah.
And you know what?
What do I do?
If I'm angry, I'm toxic. If I'm scared, I'm a coward. If I have boundaries, I'm insecure. If
Right.
I'm sad, I'm weak. If I have standards, I'm misogynistic. If I express emotions, then I'm a simp. And at that point, it's like, well, now I'm not going to show any emotion, and now I'm heartless.
Right. It's that middle ground sucks. Because it's like, it's what do they say? Like, the the worst thing you can do is like not make a decision, like sit in the middle. Right? You don't have a clear vision forward, you don't have a clear path, you don't have a clear mindset. And so when you're in between, it's rough, you know? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And here's the thing. I'm going to throw this out there because
Okay.
it's my opinion. And I like history. I like genetics. I like, men and women are different. We are built different.
You know how like when any like movie that's about relationships, there's always that like you complete me or we complete.
Yeah, yin to the yang.
You know what? Men and women don't complete each other because we're all broken as people. Like we're not a movie, we're not Instagram, we're not Facebook. We're living life. So we don't complete each other. We all have our brokenness. We strengthen each other because we're different. And it's almost like we forgot that because we're different, we're stronger. And we've like painted this picture that it's supposed to be like perfect, and it's like,
See, I think we do complete each other for that very reason, because we're so different, right? Like a
but
guy,
not the way social media, movies like dictates. We complete each other because we offer totally
right,
different solutions or mindsets or strengths.
right. And yeah, but that's the yin and the yang, I think, coming together. And I think that's been blurred as well, meaning like traditionally, and again, this goes, in my opinion, this goes back to, brought my mic, this goes back to biology. This goes back to, because it's, men are providers and protectors, and we do the physical, like we're just more physically capable and strong, like it's just in our genome to do those things. And women are nurturers and loving, right? Like they have things that we don't have, and we have things that they don't. And I think the negative,
Penis.
yeah, we have one
Remember
of
the
those, and
penis thing? Penis.
they don't. Wow, most of them anyway. But that, I think that simplicity is good. Is yeah, like, no, I don't want my wife going out and pouring concrete on the highway. I mean, she could, maybe she could, but that's,
I don't want her to.
well, and I don't know that she wants to, except for when she was told she can. Well, yeah, of course you can. Now you're allowed to. I don't know why you were never allowed to, but now you were told you can. But I don't know that that's the best place for you, because it doesn't pull on a female's strengths, in my opinion, most of the time. Like, like I liked that. But I liked it, because there's things that I can't do that I want my other half of the feminine female sex to do, because she is so much better at it than me, because I can't do them. And there's things that she can't or won't do either. Derek, go move that boulder out of the garden so I can plant tomatoes. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to go move that boulder. That's what I'm here to do, in a way, if it's in its most simplest form.
Yeah, I mean, there's also just like the way that judgment has not even just like physical doing of things. It's just like the judgment of who we are and how we are. That it's gotten so, I guess, judgmental towards one side than the other.
What do you mean? Give me an example. Do you have one?
um, Women want a tall man.
Oh,
That's a preference, right?
yeah.
But if a man wants a beautiful woman, then he's shallow.
Yeah.
Women want an older man. That's preference. But if a man wants a younger woman, he's a predator.
Yeah.
Women avoid broke men or less financially set men. That's preference. Or they want like, wealthier men. But men avoid a single mother, then he's immature.
Yeah.
Women want dominance, preference. Men want submission, misogyny.
Yeah.
Women set boundaries, that's empowering. And then men set boundaries, he's controlling.
Yeah.
It's just, when did these like judgments become different? Like, if you're not 6 foot, oh, you're a short king, but like, oh, but you weigh 150. You're
Yeah.
heavy. You know what I mean? It's like,
You know what? It's, I think a lot of societal things have changed, but then I don't know that for individual humanity they have changed, and that causes a clash, right? Meaning, well,
We're
you
still
don't,
the same dumb old men.
well, no, it could go back to like, well, you don't need a man. And the one's like, but I want a man. But is am I going against like societal things to be like, yeah, I want a man? Like, it's like, or, like, so there's some, I mean, I don't know. I think there's like a push and a pull, right? Because, like, listen, yeah, tall guy. Women want a tall guy, but did she shout? I think women have always wanted tall, right? But society has also changed to where there's more options, and it's more, that's become more important than other things used to be, right? Like traditionally, it's like, great, I don't, yeah, of course, you want a 6'3" guy, but Tom here at 5'9" has a great job. He has a great family. He's going to take care of your kids. He goes to church on Sundays. You're going to marry Tom. Back in the day, and Susie was like, "Okay, I'll marry Tom." And she was happy. They were happy. Now, I mean, it's a little bit more choice and freedom, which again may not be a bad thing, but it's very much like, no, I'm going to wait around, and I don't need to settle down. I don't need to settle for Tom. I'm going to go after all the 6'3" Benjamins. And if I never find one, then it's all right. I work on Wall Street and I'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
So,
what size is your hand? I got tiny hands.
yeah, yeah. And for men, let's go to this side. You know, I see a lot of people, millennials and even younger. It's just like, all right, well, if women aren't looking to build families with me, and it's going to sound terrible, but like, well, why do I need that? And then women are saying the same thing about men. It's almost like a face off in a way at times. I've seen it because marriage rates are the lowest they've ever been. Divorce rates are the highest they've ever been. Um, Kids reproduction is the lowest, right? Like, because people just aren't settling down, and
Well, they're
I don't.
not. They're not working. Meaning, like, I've been blocked, I've been unblocked, I've been loved, I've been hated, but I've never just had someone be like, "Hey, let's fix this. Let's work on this. Let's figure out
Yeah,
how to get through to the other side." It's just as soon as it's not there, it's
convenient. Yeah,
yeah, let me go to the DMs and move on.
yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother problem. I think
I mean,
convenience is.
all Grandpa had to do was make sure Jim from the other town, didn't come over.
Didn't come on his property, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like you're not going to see pictures of Jim's hot wife, right, on social media.
yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, everything's out
It's a
there.
different ball game, Grandpa.
It is a different ball game. And I think convenience is an epidemic. Put that
Yeah,
in quotations. Convenience is an epidemic because with the changes, and again, we're talking about this. I want to keep saying this as millennial men because we grew up one way and then watched it completely change. And we're in between two worlds. We're like, well, I remember when it was like this, and now it's like this, and I don't know which one I like better. But convenience is an epidemic because once it started happening in any way, with the internet, with Grubhub, you can get your food anyway. With dating, like now it's just you could sort through the menu and it's just whatever's convenient. And oh, this isn't working. I'm going to leave her, break up with her, divorce her, vice versa. It wasn't There wasn't that
you
convenience.
figured it out. Yeah,
Well, kind of because you had to, because it was like, what are you going to do? You live in the town. There's no internet. You're going to go find
well,
John there because there's Jim and John,
yeah,
and John lives down the street, and he's single or he divorced his wife, so he's your other option. What are you going to drive 3 towns over and sit at a bar all night. No. Well, now you can go online and you can see guys or girls from all over the city and pick one that you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's the everything's visible, right? Like, being a man's hard because, you're expected to be strong when things are struggling, right? But I guess at the same time, being a woman is hard because you're expected to hold everything together while being judged because of your image.
I think
Different battles, same weight.
some of this change. This is what I said. Women empowerment, great. I think it hurts some women the most, not men.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I'm going to shout out my sister because she listens, and we've had conversation on this. And yeah, well, now women can only be the ones that have babies, and when they come out, the baby wants them, and they provide the milk, and they're the nurturers, and like they have to do that job. They literally do. But now, because women are able to and looked at be independent, have a career too, do it's like, all right, well, you just added more things because now I still want to take care of my household because that's what I want to do. But I also you're now I'm trying to be a woman and a man, or like kind of take on both. And so I never
Okay, Miss Doubtfire.
right. But it's like we have we have that too, though. We have pressures. I'll be at
Oh,
home
babies
more,
love me. Yeah.
take care of the kids more, so we're dipping into each other's worlds, but then it's almost creating, you got to do both. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you were a sales guy or girl, not the admin person, but now we want you to be in sales and admin. And then the admin person is like, well, you're an admin, but we also want you to dip into sales. So it's like, is that better, or am I doing two jobs now? Or am I expected to do two jobs? But I'm really only good at one of them. So why don't we just keep it simple? I do what I'm good at, and you do what you're good at.
And it can go both ways.
Yeah,
But
of
that's the
course.
conversation you have and just iron it out in the beginning. I mean, instead of just expecting one side to go all. And that goes
Yeah,
both ways too.
yeah. I this just came to my mind because talking about gender dynamics, and listen, I grew up traditional, and I remember being the guy, and I was dating girls, and I was
You
like,
dated girls?
yeah, I dated girls, I did, and I was like, can you cook? No, we better learn how to cook. And I tell you what, man, I went through so many girlfriends because they had zero interest in being a
Claire.
traditional one. But no, they just had. I was out looking for what I saw my mother and grandma like. It's just what I knew, and they didn't want it. Guess what? I cook now. I cook every. I had to. I was like, all right, these new age women, like they don't want to be. A lot of them don't want to be traditional, and so all right, I got to pick up cooking. And I remember that because it was just like, well, wait a minute. I thought that's how this works. Like, yeah, I gotta go get a job and I gotta work my ass off. But like, you know how to cook, right? You can cook me a meal when I come home from my no. No, I'm going for a law degree. I'm like, okay.
I will say it's funny you say that. My big one is there's a family recipe for it runs between 12 to 16 layer chocolate cake. And it's always been my thing that can you make that cake for me?
Right.
And I had an amazing woman for over a decade. She could fucking make that cake. And it was baller. Now I'm like, God damn it. I need someone to make that fucking cake for me.
But going back, like I think that used to be like prerequisites for, back in the
I
day.
can
Again, I'm
cook.
going back. It's like, oh, you find anyone? The mother was like, can she cook? Is she gonna feed you? Her baby, her son. I don't know. Let's go over that. All right. Cindy's gonna cook for us. Like it was kind of a prerequisite, kind of like that test. Like, can she do what me as your mother have done for however many years? And now that's kind of that's not a test. It's not a test anymore, right? Like it's like, does she cook? No, mom. Nah, whatever. Like it's not. You can't really enforce that
Yeah,
anymore.
it's the walk in from work, honey, I'm home. Your perfect woman's making
Yeah,
dinner with an apron on, hopefully just wearing a thong. But
that's coming back, right? This is going to be outside of our millennial men. Guys, listen, you might not know what this is, but I found out what this is. There's a movement called trad wives,
haven't heard this.
and it's women who are dedicating themselves back to being a traditional housewife. And obviously, the men has to make all. They do not work, but what they do is they make sure the house is perfect. They make sure every meal is cooked, and they dress. When the man comes home, they're dressed. Hair's perfect, a dress on, apron, cooking. They're going back to that traditional 60s, 70s Mad Men. If you've ever seen that show, the
Oh,
guy, the woman, I baked fresh cookies today. Would you like those? Dinner will be on the table soon. Honey, would you like this? Picking up the plates while the guys talk business at dinner, like at the table. Like it's called a trad wife movement, and they're going back to the traditional times. Look it up, right? It might be. I bet you they can make a layered chocolate cake. Tell you that much. But yeah, it's wild. I mean, you know, things change,
yeah.
right? Things change. Um, but we talk candidly, but we do a little research, and I was looking into this, and they were said that gender dynamics has changed for the millennial generation more, or in the last 40 years. It's changed more in the last 40 years than it had in the last 200. And this is why we started this podcast, because I think a lot of it is technology and internet, right? Because,
Image.
well, no, I just think for the last 200 years, without the internet, men did manufacturing jobs. You had to work outside. There wasn't computers, like even before the stock, like there wasn't, and so now with technology, like, I don't know, there's robots that mow your lawn now. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I think why it's changed so much is technology, because we're not out there using our muscles and being men as much as we used to be. And vice versa. And maybe that's evened out the other side too, because women are probably better with technology than men are sometimes, right? So it's like, all right, I don't need muscles to go out and work and make a bunch of money, right? Because back then, like, all right, I got to go cut steel at the steel mill and get in the farms, or go cut log, whatever. Women can now make a good amount of money without any physical exertion. I
Yeah.
don't know. So it's changed things, but it's the world we live in. It's the world we live in. So yeah, appreciate to our listeners out there. Our millennial men, we support you. We're here. It's a changing world. You got to change with it. We got to figure it out together. And Bryson, close us out.
Yeah, I mean, well, put me on the spot. Shit. Kids rely on men, women rely on men. At the end of the day, who do men have to rely on? Themselves and their bows. This is why we need our brothers, so we can talk to, share our struggles, our successes. Don't forget about you both.
Peace.